Assalamualaikum and good morning, my dear students. How are you feeling today? I hope all of you are in good health. Since today is our last class together, I hope you will enjoy today's lesson. So not wasting time, today we are going to learn about a new topic on grammar, which is present perfect tense. In our previous lesson, we have learned about present tense. Do you still remember? Okay, let's just recap a little bit. In the previous lesson, we have learned that present tense is a tense describing an action, tindakan, or things, perkara, that happen currently going on or habitually performed. It means that it is repeatedly done or happen. Sesuatu yang kerap terjadi atau sesuatu yang awak kerap lakukan. Usually, there is no change in the verb. It's just that we just need to add an s to plural subjects and the verb remain as base form for singular subject. So still remember, we need to add an s at the end of the verb for plural subjects. For example, if the verb is cook, for plural subjects it will become cooks. But for singular subject, you don't need to change anything. You just remain the base form of the verb, which is cook. But what about present perfect tense? Is it the same? Present perfect tense is not the same as present tense. We use present perfect tense to talk about things in the past when we don't say exactly when they happen. We talk about apa yang dah jadi, tapi we don't really state, menyatakan bila dia terjadi atau secara terperinci. For example, what have happened yesterday, on the day before. We just mentioned on what happened but did not state when they happened. For example, you told me that I have eaten dinner. So you told me that you have eaten dinner, but you don't mention when did you eat your dinner. In present perfect tense, we also have affirmative and negative. So, what are these two? We will look into it after this. Affirmative is sentence or declaration that is positive, ayat positive, while negative is sentence or declaration that is negative, ayat yang negative. So how to differentiate between these two? And how do you know which sentence is affirmative or negative? We will look at the examples later and you will be able to identify which sentence is affirmative or which sentence is negative. But first, we need to learn on how to form present perfect tense in affirmative sentences. Present perfect tense in affirmative sentences consists of subject plus have or has plus past participle plus object. I repeat, subject plus have or has plus past participle plus object. Past participle is the form of verb in past participle. For example, in the sentence, I have eaten dinner. I have eaten dinner. Eaten is the past participle form of verb eat. The sentence I have eaten dinner is one example of affirmative sentences. The action shown in the sentence is positive. We are going to look at a few more examples. The first sentence, I have read about England in books. I have read about England in books. Read is an irregular verb, therefore the form remains the same. However, the word read only has different way of pronunciation. In present tense, it is pronounced as read. In past simple or past participle, it is pronounced as read. The next example, she has been to Britain 3 times. She has been to Britain 3 times. She or he is a third person singular subject, so we will use has, not have. The next one, he has gone to his grandparents' house. He has gone to his grandparents' house. As you can see in the previous two sentences, there is the verb been and gone. In present perfect tense, we also use the been and gone, but they are usually used in different contexts. Been and gone. Been is a past participle form of the verb be. It is used to describe completed visits. If you have visited a place on holiday and then you return, it means that you have been there and you have returned. So it shows that it's a complete visit. Gone is a past participle form of the verb go. It is used to describe incomplete visits. If someone visits a place but has not come home, it means that they have gone there but they have not returned. So it shows that it is an incomplete visit. Let's look at a few more examples. They have traveled to Sabah several times. They have traveled to Sabah several times. Travel is past participle form of the verb travel. The next sentence, we have lived all of our life in the USA. We have lived all of our life in the USA. Lived is the past participle form of the verb live. So, there are examples for affirmative sentences in present perfect tense. Do you know that we can also write present perfect tense in contracted form? So, what is this contracted form? Contracted form is when we combine two words to become one word. Gabung dua perkataan jadi satu perkataan. It will become shorter. For instance, the word I and the word have. When you combine it, it becomes I've. She or he and has. It becomes she's or his. They and have. It will become their. You and have. It becomes you've. We and have. It will become we've. Contracted form is you combine the words to become one word. Contracted form can be used in a complete affirmative sentences as well. For example, I have read about England in books. So it will become I've read about England in books. She has been to Britain 3 times. It will become she's been to Britain 3 times. They have traveled to Sabah several times. It becomes they've traveled to Sabah several times. We have lived all of our life in the USA. It will become we've lived all of our life in the USA. He has gone to his grandparents' house. It will become he's gone to his grandparents' house. We know that negative in present perfect tense is sentence or declaration that is negative. How do we form present perfect tense in negative sentences? Subject plus have not or has not or have never or has never plus past participle plus object. I repeat, subject plus have not or has not, or have never, or has never, plus past participle, plus object. For example, I have not eaten dinner. I have not eaten dinner. Have not here shows that the sentence is negative. So, usually, in negative sentences, we have the word not or never after the verb have or has. We are going to look at a few examples. I have not read about England in books. I have not read about England in books. She has never been to Britain before. She has never been to Britain before. They have never traveled to Britain before. They have never traveled to Britain before. We have not watched the movie. We have not watched the movie. He has not gone to the party. He has not gone to the party. In negative sentences, we can also use contracted form. But in negative sentences, the contracted form is different from contracted form in affirmative sentences. Contracted form in negative sentences is when we combine two or three words to become two words. Let's look at the examples. The word I combined with have and not, it will become I haven't. The word I combined with have and never, it will become I've never. She or he combined with has and not, it becomes she hasn't or he hasn't. She or he combined with has and never, it will become she's never or he's never. They combined with have and not, they become they haven't. They combined with have and never, it will become they've never. You combined with have and not, it becomes you haven't. You combined with have and never, it becomes you've never. We combined with have and not, it becomes we haven't. We combined with have and never, it will become we've never. Similar to affirmative sentences, we can also write contracted form in complete negative sentences. For example, I have not read about England in books. I have not read about England in books. It will become I haven't read about England in books. I haven't read about England in books. The next example, she has never been to Britain before. She has never been to Britain before. It will become she's never been to Britain before. She's never been to Britain before. The next one, they have never traveled to Sabah before. They have never traveled to Sabah before. It will become they've never traveled to Sabah before. They've never traveled to Sabah before. The next sentence, we have not watched the movie. We have not watched the movie. It will become we haven't watched the movie. We haven't watched the movie. The last example, he has not gone to the party. He has not gone to the party. It will become he hasn't gone to the party. He hasn't gone to the party. We have come to the end of the lesson. Thank you so much for listening. To all students, please complete task 25 and task 26 on Quizzes and task 27 on Google Form. Please make sure you rewatch the video if you don't understand any part of the topic. And if you need help with the task and also with the lesson today, you can always ask me on WhatsApp. Therefore, thank you once again.